write the code for this first programming challenge. This one, it says write a function that returns an integer and accepts a pointer to a C string as an argument. So basically, we want a function that's going to have a pointer as argument, and that pointer is going to be pointing to a C string. So basically, remember, a C string is just a character array with a null character at the end. So really, this isn't anything we haven't already done. We're just sending an array into a function using a pointer. Now it says the function should count the number of characters in the string and return that number. Demonstrate the function in a simple program that asks the user to input a string, passes it to the function, and that should really be C string. Passes it to the function, then displays the function's return value. So really, we're going to be writing an entire program. Most of it's just going to be this function that determines the length of our C string. But we're going to write a program that asks the user for basically a sentence or some kind of string, saves that as a C string, sends that into a function, and the function is going to return the length of the C string. And so just thinking about the logic of that, since we know that a C string ends with a null character, how do you think we can determine what the length of our string is? And we can't use string length. So with this, because remember, there is that function, we could just send this into the string length function, and that function is going to return the length of the string. But for this, we want to write a function that's going to do that, so we're not using any built-in functions. So this is probably, what we're going to write is probably how string length works. But just knowing that, like if we have a C string, we want to determine what the length of it is, and we know that the end of our string has a null character, what do you think we could do as far as our algorithm to determine the length of the string?
We have a counter that runs through the string until it hits the null character?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, we would just go through we would just have, say, a while loop, step through the string until we find the null character, and each time it increments in the string, or each time it increments to a new element in the string, we're going to add 1 to our counter, so once it finds a null character, we know how long the string is. Oops. All right, so let's just start working on this code. So I already have sort of the skeleton code here. This says that this is a program that returns the length of a C string from a function and use a pointer as the function argument. Okay, so let's write a function prototype first, and then let's actually just put in some comments with what we're going to be doing. So this is going to be the function prototypes. So inside the main function, what do we need in here? So the instructions say that we're going to get a C string from the user, and then we're going to send that to the function, and the function is going to return the length of the C string, and then we want to print that out. So yeah, so we need to define the C string. And then what do we need after we do that? Say that again. We don't really need I guess we don't really need to create a pointer. We can, because remember, the name of the array is a pointer, and the C string is an array. So we need to get the C string from the user, right? So Yeah, and then what were you gonna say?
Well, part of getting it, storing it.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll get it and store it. We're probably just gonna use the cn.get line, so we can just get it and store it. Yeah. And then we want to call the function to get the length, right? And actually, we could just print everything out at the same time. So print out length. Let's write our function prototype. So what data type is this function returning? Yeah, an integer. So this is going to be int, and then what should we call the function? So it's returning the length of the C string. Say that again.
String length.
Yeah, I think string length sounds good. And then it said that we have a pointer as a function argument. So what do we need here? So we have a C string, so it's a character array.
So character and asterisk.
Yeah. So char. Now let's copy and paste this down here where we're going to write our function. And then we just need the name of the array here, so what should we call it? All right, I'm going to put a comment here specifying that this is the function definitions. Whoops. All right. Let's write the code for the function definition in a minute. Let's do this up here in the main function. So we want to define the C string. And the way I'm going to, since we don't know what the user is actually going to enter, what I'm thinking about doing is just defining an array, like a pretty large array, like maybe 100 characters or something, and then just ask the user to enter something like 100 characters or less. Does that sound good? Okay, so how would we do that?
Are you talking about defining it as 100 or making sure that they don't go over 100?
We're just going to define, well, we're just starting with defining the array right now, so we want to
User string.
With the brackets.
although let's do this as a constant. And then if that's a constant, how do we define that here? Yeah. All right, now we want to get the C string from the user. I'm going to do a cout statement and ask them to enter a string that's, well, let's do it this way. So enter a string that is, and then let's specify that this is size -1. Characters. All right, and then I already said that we want to use cn.getLine. So we want to use cn.getLine because then the user can enter a sentence or something with a bunch of spaces, and it's still going to get everything. If we just use cn, it's going to just read in until it finds white space. And since we're asking for a C string, we want it to read spaces as well. So basically, it's going to read in whatever the user enters. Like, so whatever the user enters and then hits enter, it's going to read in what they entered before they hit enter. It's going to store that into our C string and add a null character to the end. So this is cin.getLine. And then what goes here? Yeah, user string, and then what else? Yeah, size. Now this is just print out the length. So I'm just going to do a cout statement, and then the length of the string is, let's see. And then what can we put here? Yeah, we can just do our function call here. So this is going to be user string, and then what? Wait a second. This is string length.
String length, and then just user string.
Yeah, user string. All right. So really all that's left with this is to type the function, or the code for the function. We've already decided that we're just going to probably use a while loop, and we're going to go through the C string until we find the null character. But what do we need first? So we're going to be returning an integer.
Define the counter.
Yeah, so we need to define the counter. And that's going to be what data type? Yeah, int. And then should we call it? And then what should it be initialized to? Yeah, 0. And then this is going to be while. And what condition do we want in here? Yeah, so that's a pointer. So how do we? Yes, we need to dereference it. Well,
We could technically use length and count, couldn't we? And then return it.
And then see if that value is equal to.
well, so we're dereferencing the value that's inside. So like for instance, the first time in this going through this while loop, we're looking at what we have stored in the first element, right?
Yeah.
And we want to step through this and look at what's stored in each element until we find the null character. So what will our condition be? Like, when do we want the loop to end?
Value
So while it's not equal to it.
Yeah. So while it's not equal to, and then this is just going to be the null character. Remember, that's a 0, not a O. And then what do we need to, what do we want in here? Well, we're already stepping through it. So we're going to,
string length or length plus plus.
yeah, so length.
Or length plus plus or length plus equals 1.
And then since we're stepping through this string, we need to increment the string to the next element as well, right?
So like to our condition. Yeah. So user string plus length.
That way we don't have to change what user string's referring to, so we know it's always at the beginning of the thing. We won't need to use it again here, but
Yeah, we could do plus length here.
I'm gonna put a parenthesis before these, well, after the star, and user string plus length inside the parenthesis. That way it'll dereference that value.
All right. Yeah, let's, oh, and then what do we need to do after this, after it finds the null character? Yeah, return length. All right, let's see if this is working.
Do you need those brackets for the while loop if it just has one thing?
You mean these ones?
The braces.
Yeah.
You do for the while loop?
Yeah, because that's what's contained within this.
But can't you just put it right beneath it if it's just one line?
Oh yeah, you mean here.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't need these curly braces. The reason why I added those was because, like when I wrote this earlier, I did it a little bit different, but I think this will work too. So
Okay.
so when I wrote it earlier, I incremented the user string inside the loop.
Also, you're going to want return rank. It's misspelled.
Oh yeah. All right, let's see if this runs. All right, let's just try something that we know it's going to be 3. So that looks right. Let's try something a little bit longer now.
For enter a string that is 99 characters, would it be better to say 99 characters or less, or no longer than 99 characters?
Yeah, because they might think they have to enter something exactly 99. Enter a string that is recompile this. Okay, so what should I enter? Only if you tell me how to, only if you step through all the spelling.
Basic sentence, like, yeah, like that.
Okay, how many characters should that be? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So that looks right.
So it does count spaces as okay, right?
Yeah, so it'll count spaces as a character. So that's why we wanted to use the cin.getLine, because if we just do cin, it's not going to get the spaces. It'll just get the first word before a space.
I didn't know that you use cn.getLine that way with user string, specifying that we're pulling from user string.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
All right. So this looks like it's working.